Hey, it's Nitya. How are you? I am beginning a journey with you all as we launch into my Feng Shui stories. Oh my gracious. So I have been a traditional Compass School Feng Shui practitioner since 2002. And I will say that many of my clients' stories that I am going to share with you really are about healing and often had surprising processes, I guess you could say, because often somebody has you come to their home. It's not so much that they even realize what's happening until you get in there and share with them, and suddenly lots of things begin to make sense. My name is Lydia Nitya Griffith, and this is Karma Chameleon. Welcome. This is the channel for all things Bazi Chinese Astrology, flying stars, and traditional Feng Shui. Welcome. Please subscribe and follow and share this with your friends. We'd love to build this global community. So I want to begin back in 2002 when I first had a client. I remember you know that I live in Richmond, Virginia, and I drove up to Northern Virginia, about an hour and a half drive north. I was very nervous. And I will never forget, I never forget a house. I never forget a client. I can literally say 15 years from now, if you contacted me and said, Nitya, I don't know if you remember me, but you were at my house, I would remember. I have this innate ability to energetically drop into a space. So if I'm working on a house, often what will happen is while I'm working on your house, part of me is energetically in your house, moving through the rooms and feeling the energy of the house. Often when I'm talking to a client on the phone about a consultation, if there is a real issue happening, I can often feel it. Yeah. And this is one of the things about this work that I truly love. It allows me to tap into, I guess, the secret sides of myself, the more intuitive side. And intuition isn't even like the right word. And I don't even know if channeling is the right word. It's just that something in me opens up and information comes in that I don't know where the information's coming from. But I innately trust it. Okay. First client, she was the head, I want to say, of the education department, or the English department in a reputable college in Northern Virginia. And she was dealing with some really horrific brain issues, such as foggy headedness, an inability to keep track of all of her schedule and her responsibilities. Like she literally felt like she was falling apart and she couldn't understand what was going on. I remember walking in this house, like I close my eyes, I can feel it. And I mean, this is 20 years ago. This is so long ago. So walk in this house, I remember just closing my eyes, I can feel how dark it was. It's important that a house have balance, just like your body, because your home is a reflection of your physical self. A house that is dark, a house that is shuttered, meaning that you keep the blinds or curtains drawn all the time, is a house that is suffocating. It's like you were walking around in a box and you never saw the sun. You never saw or felt the breeze on your skin. You never felt your feet on the earth. And so what happens is the chi begins to stagnate and settle, and congestion begins to happen. Just like we have congestion in our lungs, we have congestion in our blood, we have congestion in our digestion, congestion in your digestion, you have congestion in your bowels, you have congestion in your nose. And that's a direct reflection of what's going on in your house. I guarantee if there is something happening, let's say in your lungs, go to the west or the northwest section of your house and see what's going on. So that's what I did. But in this particular first story, I went into this woman's bedroom and saw my first toilet Sha. What's a toilet Sha? When your wall, and here's the toilet, and here's the bed. That's a toilet Sha. And what happens, because a toilet, and you got to think, in ancient times, where was a bathroom? It was outside. Nobody wanted that toxic crap in their house. So now we have bathrooms. And the worst thing you can do is leave the door open. And all that stank, nasty energy comes into your home. The best is, if you're going to compromise, leave the door slightly ajar, not fully closed. I immediately knew what this woman's problem was. The placement of her bed was affecting her brain. Excuse me. So we moved her bed. And often when I come to someone's house, we move furniture, we move art. I am not a person that cleans up someone's clutter. That's a different job. I can tell you how to clean up your house, just like your mother or father did, but I will not be doing that. You can hire someone else for that job, but I will tell you what needs to happen. And hopefully you will have the momentum to make it happen, right? Otherwise, you're just throwing your money away on a good consultation that you didn't take the advice for. So here this woman has this wall, and here's the toilet, and here's her bed. Okay. Now, in our house designs, often we don't have many choices for a bed. And especially in America, we love everything big. King size bed, California king size bed, as big a bed as we can get, and as big a bedroom as we can get, and as big a house as we can get. Everything big, big, big. That's America, right? In my house, I actually changed bedrooms because of the energy of 2023 and wound up in the smaller bedroom. And I actually like it more. It feels cozier. So anyway, here this woman's got this major problem. She's freaking out. She's really struggling to function in a high-profile position with this university. So I remember I moved her bed, from this way to this way up against the wall, so that when you came in the bedroom, you would look to your right and there would be the bed. And from where she would be in her bed, she would have a clear sight of the doorway. So let's pause in this story, this first client's story. And yes, she felt immediate relief after we changed the bed. In fact, the next day, I remember she contacted me, and this is way before we had smartphones, right? This was a literal phone call. And she said, Lydia, wow, I woke up and felt such a difference in my whole body. I recently was at a house where I was watching some kids, some of my yoga kids, and their father has had chronic health problems. Hip replacement in his 40s, all kinds of health issues. His bed shares the wall with the toilet. Now, if they didn't hire me for a consultation, they probably could care less about Feng Shui, and maybe they think it's voodoo, woo-doo. And I texted the mom to let her know. I don't think they did anything about it. And sometimes it's really hard to see that, and you see something that you know is an easy solution, an easy fix. But is it? Do you have a choice? If you don't have a choice, what you can do, measure the space behind the toilet. So you have the top part, which is the bowl, and then there's like the base right here, and then the toilet. So if you climb down behind the toilet, there's that space between the floor and the bowl. I would say it's like about this big. And you want to get a mirror that is the exact shape. And you can get mirrors cut. And you're facing the mirror part against the wall. And this is deflecting that negative chi coming from the toilet, from penetrating through the wall. Now, this is the thing. The toilet sha isn't just about our bed. It's also about where our desk is. For instance, what if I were facing a wall that had a toilet on the other side? So what happens? I'm going to have issues with my legs. Guarantee it. What if this is a powder room, a half bath in a kitchen or dining room, that it could potentially be affecting where someone is sitting at the table to eat? And I remember my teacher telling me a story of a choking incident that happened as a result of a person sitting at a kitchen table with their back to the toilet, a wall that had the toilet. So this is also a long time ago in a neighborhood in Richmond that's beautiful called the Fan District. There was a house on a corner. I can see it so perfectly. I still pass it sometimes. And the woman's house was full of art. This is a really fun story. Her house was full of art because she owned a number of properties and was renting apartments to VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU students, and they sometimes couldn't pay their rent, so they would pay her in art. So she had a lot of really fun art in her house. She was having hip issues. She went to the doctor. I think she was probably in her 60s at the time. This was early 2000s. And she was getting ready to move to kind of like an assisted living, an elder community, and was going to leave her house and sell all of her properties, et cetera, et cetera. So I was coming in to mostly help her to get her house in alignment to be sold. And that's often something that's very smart to do. Is to have your home feng shuied before selling it to ensure that the house is ready for a sale, especially if you've had really bad sickness in the house recently, or a divorce, or a death, because the house is going to have a lot of that toxic energy, that negative energy, and people will feel it when they come in. All right, so this sweet woman, she was a dear. Having these hip issues, she went to multiple doctors. Nobody could figure anything out. Did MRIs, did x-rays, nothing. So I said to her, where do you sit? Where do you like to hang out? And she showed me in her living room, her front parlor, that she had this lazy boy that she sat in, and it's at an angle, and there's the TV, and she's sitting there day in and day out watching her TV. And so I looked at the way her chair was angled and the wall. There was a little half bathroom. And lo and behold, there was the toilet on the other side of that wall, and you literally could draw a line from the toilet to her left hip. So we moved her chair. And guess what happened? The hip pain went away. You can't make this stuff up, friends. You know, every now and then you have this thought like, is this real? They've been doing this in China for thousands of years. Really? Is this really for real? And then you have moments like that where it's a testimonial. Absolutely, it's real. Absolutely, energy is everywhere and it is manipulating and impacting us all the time. And we are also, and we're in a relationship with our home, with our land, with ourselves, and with everyone that lives with us. Whether it's four-legged or finned or running on a wheel or anywhere, right? Anything living in your home. So I think those were the only two toilet stories that I can think of off the top of my head. But I wanted to continue with this woman, this second story with the hip. Because in addition to her hip issue, which we solved, she also had a sleep issue, which we were also able to solve. And this one is really simple. And it's just a matter of paying attention. So I went up to her bedroom, and what do we find? She had, you walk in the bedroom, to the right, there's a wall with a mirror. You look to the left, which is facing the street, two big windows. In between the two windows is a mirror and a dresser. And then in the far right corner, there is a credenza open with a TV, which is what? Has a screen, a reflective glass screen. Okay. And then, let me get this right. I'm like literally in this woman's house, which she has long left. And I don't even know that she's still alive because that was 20 years ago. And then there's a ceiling fan, which this is considered the South, and God help us, those ceiling fans seem to be forever on. So, and then I noticed she's got an ironing board out with an iron sitting on it. That to me is such a relic, isn't it? I think that was it. And so what I said to her was this. This is what's happening. You've got light coming in those two windows, hitting the mirror on the right. The energy is bouncing back to the mirror across from it. And that is then also hitting the TV. It is like light rays bouncing around the room. And then you add the mix master. What is a ceiling fan? Yeah. It's considered spinning knives. It agitates the energy. Not only does it agitate it, it aggravates it. I don't know if it's because I'm a tall person or the fact that I have hypersensitive hearing. I can hear the motor of ceiling fans and it drives me nuts. It's like one of the first things I remove from my house. I'm still trying to replace the one that's peeking in on the screen. But ceiling fans are a hot mess. Having a floor fan is far better than having something, this helicopter thing over your head, right? And it's oppressive, especially when they're dark colored, like the paddles are dark colored wood. It feels like this oppressive thing. So anyway, this woman's got light because her house was facing southwest. Amazing, I still remember this. And the southwest facing house, so it's getting a lot of sunlight. And so the energy is coming in the window, bouncing off all of these reflective surfaces of two opposing mirrors. Never put multiple mirrors in a room like that. Never face a mirror to a window or a door. It just creates all of this bang, 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 like one of those monkeys with the cymbals. And then you add the ceiling fan. Of course, she's not sleeping. So what do? She says. First, we're going to turn off the ceiling fan. Oh, no, she says. Yes, we say. I'm sorry. We're turning off the ceiling fan. I think you're going to be fine. We're going to close the credenza to block off the screen of the TV so that you're only opening it when you need it. And actually, that's, if you have to have a TV in the bedroom, that's the best way to do it. But in general, you don't want any screens, no computers, no iPads, even your phone. Even your phone. Because it's a distraction from what you're supposed to be doing in your bedroom, which is sleeping, resting, making love, whatever. But it should be the one place where you get to be screen-free. My God, your body, your energetic body and mind so need that, a break from it. All right. So, and then, of course, we took the mirror down that was to the right as you came in the room. So the only mirror left was the one to the left, in between the windows, the front windows, and above the dresser. And we got the ironing board put away, because when you have like a pile of laundry, a stack of paperwork, your briefcase, anything that really for you resembles a job not completed, work that's waiting for you subconsciously as you're sleeping or trying to sleep. Your subconscious is very aware that there is something in the room waiting for you as soon as you are consciously awake enough to take care of it, whether it's ironing or folding clothes or filing your taxes. All right. So I'm going to wrap this up. Those were the first two stories. And we will continue Feng Shui client stories with Lydia Nitya Griffith another time. I have plenty of stories to tell. Those were the first two I could think of. Now, for you, I want you to go around and see if there is anything sharing a wall with a toilet that could be a health crisis for you or a loved one. Then I want you to look where ceiling fans are and notice if people have trouble sleeping, if people have arguments or agitation or a feeling of restlessness. Also notice the placement of your mirrors. And addition to mirrors are anything with a reflective surface, including some artwork that has glass. And there is non-reflective glass for artwork that is much preferred. So check those things out in your house. Feel free to leave questions and comments, and I'll see you soon. Be well.